there, I'm Sarah Holbrook. I'm the Executive Director of the Pinhead Institute and the lucky interviewer of the Mayor, Sean Murphy.
Hi Sarah, happy holidays. Good
I know,
to be
right?
with you again.
Can you believe it's almost the end of 2017?
No, actually, I was looking through my notes from last year's State of the Town address from
yeah.
January, and it was actually fascinating to me because I sort of thought, how far have we come?
Yeah.
And I guess it's the principle that personal trainers use, that which is not measured does not change. So I looked at where were we on housing, where were we on transit, where were we on the environment,
sure,
and where were we on leadership.
Yeah, hit us with some of that. Yeah,
we'll give you the top notes from 2017.
Exactly.
On housing, we were really in a two situation. We had two projects going on at that time: the Virginia Placer and the SMPA lot, the AHA School public nonprofit partnership across from Baked and Telluride. I'm happy to report that we're actually 2+2 at this point. The +2 is the Lot B, the RV lot over by Entrada.
Sure.
That we're in the process of we have finalized plans with an architect. We've already had a work session at HARC, and in January we'll be back at HARC to sort of noodle through the nuts and bolts.
Wow. Do you know when in January, in case people want to attend?
The HARC meeting should be the third week in January, so the Wednesday of the third week. Sorry, I don't have the date. But,
sure. Okay, got
so
it.
keep that on your radar.
Yeah, exactly, because people will care. That's an interesting project.
The other item of the +2 is the Sunnyside lot that the county and the town decided mid-year last year that we were going to co-develop.
Okay.
So no architect has been retained yet. We haven't put the request for proposal out, but we at least have the public partnership in the pipeline and moving forward as well.
And when you say public on the Sunnyside lot, what does that mean, public?
It means just like the Gold Run project, where the county came with certain land and we came with land and we built housing. In this case, it's a little bit more divided in terms of the county owns the land and the town of Telluride plans to build all the housing. So out there we'll probably have 20 to 22 units, condominium style
townhouses or something.
Yeah,
nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So on transit,
so 2+2. All right, we'll take that.
We were 0. As you'll remember, our voters in November of 2016 approved the ballot measure that allowed for the funding mechanism to be put in place and the adoption of a regional transit authority.
And what funds it? Like a $0.25 sales tax or something?
There's a 1/4% sales tax and a 3/4 mil property tax mill rate.
And that over this 2017, when it was not being spent because we didn't have an executive director, we didn't really have any direction yet, put almost $1 million in the bank,
You're absolutely right.
Wow, that's a
lot for
public
transport. By the time we get to the end of
transport.
2017, we will have over $1 million. We've bought one van at this point, although it's not the most ecologically sensitive van.
Well, I think it's a great purchase because there's a new program to replace old fleet vehicles 2009 or earlier that are diesel with electric vehicles, and that's what Smart has now.
Well, and Smart has a little bit of cash, so we should start doing that.
Exactly.
So on the Smart front, we were searching for an executive director.
Yeah.
We were starting to hold community forums. We were forming a community advisory council. And so we were really looking for direction from the public.
Yeah.
It's nice now that we're at the end of 2017, we can say it's 0+2. One, we've identified and hired, finally, an executive director, a terrific guy named David Averill, who comes from Fort Collins, but formerly from CDOT. So he's got both the, when the rubber meets the road exercise
That's
down
a good
pat,
metaphor for what we're talking about.
and he also knows the administrative jungle that these kind of authorities need to navigate. So he's got insight and contacts within CDOT and also has grant writing experience. So frankly, it brings all the right skills together.
Yeah, we're very lucky,
The other
fortunate.
+2 in that case is we now have direction from the community. So Amy Levick, as our interim director of Smart, did a terrific job and continues to actually consult with us. But she really spearheaded a number of community conversations with regional partners.
And
like
surveys,
Ophir,
right?
Sawpit,
Yeah,
exactly.
she did a lot of surveys
we
with the
did a
community
Lawson Hill
members.
survey where we got very valuable data. And so out of the Lawson Hill survey, for example, we've now expanded service to 7 days a week until 10 p.m.
7 days a week. And how
every
often?
half hour.
Every half hour to Lawson. And that's a big change, right?
It's a
I
huge
can remember we live in town. My children's friends who lived in Lawson would have to be driven home. I mean, there was never a convenient bus. It was always a single car situation or a bicycle sometimes. Some of the kids would ride their bikes, but it's so much better to have every half hour bus service.
Exactly, and that's precisely the job of government, to make life better for people.
Yeah.
And that is the beginning of making our lives more convenient and providing more regional transit, which is more responsible environmentally, which is more responsible as a community, that we all get behind this. We are all funding it now, and so we should all make very good and frequent frequent use of it.
Yeah, exactly. So 0
So
and now 2.
0 plus 2
Got
on
it.
transit.
Okay.
Environment, we're 2 plus 1. So the 2 that we had, the town of Telluride has been a member for some years now of the Mountain Pact, which is the
Right.
federal sort of lobbying arm of a number of cities across the West. The town of Telluride has also been a multi-year member of the CC4CA, Colorado Communities for Climate Action.
Yeah.
And that's more of a state-based organization that lobbies at the legislative level and brings communities together to influence state policy. The nice plus one in this case is that as of May of 2017, thanks to the foresight and leadership of the mayor of Aspen, modeled after the mayor of Paris and the mayor of New York's accord there for climate carbon reduction, we as Colorado communities now, there's an organization called the Compact of Colorado Communities. Telluride is a founding member, one of 18 founding members of that organization. I'm happy to say that membership has grown up to almost 30 now.
Wow.
So, and we're communities, so it doesn't have to be a town, it could be a county,
Sure.
for example. So we do have community groups and counties that are also encouraged to participate. What does that mean? That really creates a local basis for action. And so you and I have talked before about how really it's a hyper-local exercise to reduce your carbon footprint.
Yeah.
And unless you're consciously, individually doing something about it,
Yeah.
then you don't really have the impact that you could.
Yeah.
So certain mountain film programming last year acquainted us with the idea that a small village in the UK could reduce its
Yeah,
carbon footprint by
sure.
40% over 11 years. And so Telluride is in the process, hopefully with the help of the Pinhead Climate Institute.
Sure, and our whole consortium of the Climate Neutral Coalition, we're all working together to try to move that forward. Yeah.
And what we'll do here is, over the course of 2018, with our new council and new leadership, we'll set our community goal, and then we will report back to the Compact of Colorado Communities and say, here's our target toward carbon neutrality. And it's not going to be through greenwashing, it's going to be through individual efforts to reduce consumption.
Yeah.
We hope.
Exactly.
So-
yeah, which will make such a big difference.
So we're 2 plus 1 on,
Yeah.
on environment.
Excellent.
And then finally,
Yeah.
on leadership, we're actually, I don't know where you start, but we're plus 4. So as we all know, we've had a recent town council election.
Right.
We have 3 new town council people. And so the good news is we have people now who've taken that oath of office, and their next step is really to turn that oath into action.
Yeah.
And so our hope and their job, our job, is to work together and to listen to each other and to listen to the community and figure out what the next steps are and what the major issues are.
Yeah.
That's 3. The 4th is our new town manager.
Oh, right, exactly. We missed the old one.
On town, yes, Greg
Yeah.
Clifton did a mighty task. He really set the stage for really the next natural progression.
Yeah.
So we have a new town manager who's probably, I'm guessing, 15 years younger than Greg, but dispositionally, he's very similar to Greg.
Oh, good.
So those of you who like Greg, don't be disappointed. The new person, Ross Herzog,
Yeah.
is very much a listener like Greg, very much of a problem solver, not a drama queen.
Right.
So this is actually good traits for a town manager or a town councilor or whatever. So we now have 4 people, hopefully all who are going to row in the right direction and row together.
Nice.
As leadership. So we're plus 4 on the town leadership side.
Wow, that's
So-
amazing. Yeah, that's a lot of changes, but a lot of changes in the right direction, wouldn't you say?
And it's frankly a lot of change in the last 12 months. I
Yeah?
mean, government works incrementally, and actually it's designed to do that. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be tough, hard-fought consensus. It's supposed to be, tension and then harmony and sort
Yeah.
of fluctuation and balance.
Sure.
But I think we've really, one of the things that gratified me most out of our November election results were, rather than an attempt to rerun the last election where it was pretty close back in 2015 in certain races, including mine, we had the community basically saying by margin of 3-1,
Right, these are the people we
these
would
are the
like.
people we want.
Yeah.
This is the kind of approach and direction we like. Yes, we want people who've been in the community for many decades, like Jesse Ray Arguelles McConnell,
Yeah.
and like Tom Watkinson.
Right.
But we also want younger people,
Yeah.
like Jesse Ray and Tom.
Yeah,
then
and Geneva.
Miss
Yeah.
Shawnette, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we have a very robust, very keen group of people who
Keen, that's a good
really
word,
want
yes.
to work together.
They are
So,
keen, yeah.
But that's really your headlines for 2017.
Yeah.
So again, on on housing, we're 2 plus 2 now, which is more than 4. It's
Yeah.
housing for a couple hundred people.
Yeah, that's great.
On transit, again, we're 0 plus 2, which will be basically services going forward for thousands.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Or thousands of trips.
Yeah, let's
put it
talk
that
about
way.
let's look through our looking glass into 2018. What do you think the transit will grow to be? Already we're servicing Lawson in such a much more great way than we were before. But will we be going to Montrose? Will we be going to Norwood, Ridgeway? I mean,
Well,
where will
we should
Smart
be
go?
increasing frequency to Norwood. We should for sure be trying to talk with our other regional stakeholders
Yeah.
about, this is a good model that Aspen and this Aspen Ski Company used.
Mm-hmm.
They studied in those days, back in the 80s, where are the ski employees coming from? They
Right.
were coming from far away.
Sure.
And so they really established the ski resort, decided it's in their best interest to actually join, and actually they co-fund
Yeah.
the RAFTA organization over there, the Rolling Fork Transit Authority. And so we're really also in the process of working with stakeholders like Telski and trying to serve their employees,
Right.
hotel employees, a lot of our people who make our food and make our beds come from Montrose. And so that should be and will be, I'd have to defer to David Averill,
Right.
the new executive director.
Right.
And so I'm just a dumb board member at this point, but
But
I'm
you
one of the
attend and
people
you
from-
listen and you hear what they're talking about. Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
but 2018 should be, when we get together next year at this time,
Yeah.
we should be able to report on plus a bunch.
Yeah, right, exactly.
with
Well, that's such a
transit.
nice way to put it. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and that's really the job. I mean, that's the nice thing when you take a step back and you reflect at year end, like many of us do. The idea is that when you're in these roles, if you're a member of the board of SMART, or if you're on town council, or if you're a town manager, your job is to really help people that you're never going to know.
Right.
And so
Yeah. Yeah.
that's,
And-
I really think, what we're doing in housing. There'll be multi-generational folks occupying the new projects that we're putting together now and that we'll continue to do in the future.
Yep.
On transit, we'll help improve quality of life and access for people who live not just within the core and take the Galloping Goose and have that
Right.
convenience, but create a model that actually pulls the region together better.
Yeah.
And actually, we shouldn't be thinking in terms of legal jurisdictions like San Miguel County.
Right.
We need to think about, okay, Ouray and Montrose counties.
Yeah.
Or the West End.
Yeah,
Thinking
exactly.
frankly about going to the, Montrose County the other way too.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
all need to bind ourselves as closely together as possible and focus on not our differences, but
Yeah.
really where's our common interest.
Yeah, sure.
So,
sure.
and I think in 2017 we've made some measurable progress. I truly believe, when I look back over the last 2 years that I've had the privilege of being the mayor, that we have better relationships now with almost every regional stakeholder.
Yeah.
We have a better relationship with the town of Mountain Village, we the town of Telluride. Same can be said for San Miguel County in the town. Again, we're focusing on common interests like Sunnyside instead of focusing on whose housing guidelines will govern a
Right.
joint project.
Right, exactly. And that's complicated because every municipality has a different set of guidelines. You know,
Exactly.
I mean, I remember being at the SMART meeting and you were all talking about the intergovernmental agreements and how, you know, I mean, it's
Exactly.
difficult.
The
but
devil's
if-
in the details,
the
but
devil's
you
in the
can't lose
details.
sight of the
Yeah.
broader principle.
Yeah, but if the people are willing, there's a way.
Then that's true. And our voters have told us that. They said that loud and clear back in November of 16 when they said, yes, form a regional transit authority.
Yeah.
Yes, we're willing all to participate in terms of funding. And yes, we all want this.
Yeah.
And so that's a great basis and a good model for us to look forward.
Yeah, I was thinking back to the ballots, and we only had one initiative this November, and that was 1A. That was the
That was the early childhood education.
So
yes.
talk about that. Is that moving forward now? What's happening with
That is moving forward. I'm not as close to the detail there, but my understanding is that the mechanism there was the county put this on the ballot. There's a defined board of directors that come from different constituencies within the community. And so at this point, there are people that are being identified and asked to join that board and asked to help guide that. It'll be sort of similar to SMART in that
Yeah.
they'll start raising funds, but they won't have anything to immediately show for it.
Right.
And so in their case, I think their chief role, the way they could be the most help to us as a community, is to help subsidize living wages for the people who work in childcare facilities
Right.
that already exist.
Right.
And then if we have more, we have the demand.
Right.
We just don't have the supply of people to help care for our kids.
Right.
And so if we can actually be the leader in this and look at other communities like Denver, it took them 2 ballot initiatives that failed. They got it right on the third time. Summit County, they failed the first time, succeeded the second time. We failed once before, about 8 years ago, and now we've succeeded in terms of getting the community to buy in. And so
And that will raise the wages eventually of the people who are working in the child care industry so that you could have high quality child care without worrying that you're going to lose the people taking care of your kids to a higher paying job elsewhere. Is that kind of the idea?
And if
Nice.
that happens, one or more of our community members have to stay home and can't do the productive work they do to
Right.
either, build our community or do real, tangible, measurable work here.
Yeah.
So we don't want people moving away. This is a mechanism that's going to raise approximately $700,000 a year. One of the permitted use for that funding is to help subsidize wages.
Great.
Others are to help subsidize the cost of building and adding capacity.
Sure.
And so, and the other thing is really a training aspect. One of the toughest things when you're in the early childhood education or early childhood care space is qualification.
Right.
Highly regulated industry. The
Yeah.
state rightly very carefully wants to screen and monitor the training of the people who are providing these services, as well as the ongoing compliance with doing a good job.
Yeah.
And so we don't have enough personnel that are actually
Trained.
qualified.
Right, exactly. So this
one of the
will-
exciting things we're hoping to do with Colorado Mesa University in coming months is that they've made a commitment to the town of Telluride and to San Miguel County to actually come here. We're in their service area, but frankly, we've been underserved
Yeah.
for many decades.
Sure.
So the easy, lowest hanging fruit and biggest win for all of us is to actually help with the early childhood education training
Yeah.
modules
Yeah.
that will allow people who are interested in being qualified in that area to get those qualifications and not have to travel. Who's going to travel to Montrose to do that
Right.
to earn sub-minimum wage?
Right, exactly. So now it's a setup
That's
for
another
success.
part of the
Yeah,
puzzle, but
yeah.
that too is a permitted use
Yeah.
of some of those funds. And so we will be taking steps, and we as a community have thankfully also said last year it was transit, yes, this year it's early childhood education, yes.
Yeah.
All these are, quality of life community enhancements.
Yeah, oh, that's great. Speaking of community enhancements, I went to the Rotary lunch now that I'm a Rotary member, and there was a guy who was presenting from Norwood who moved there from Chicago, and he was kind of like a fire chief EMT guy.
Yes.
And now he's going to be teaching EMT classes there. Your Colorado Mesa University child care training comment reminded me that in this community soon we'll have a licensed teacher who can teach our community EMT or EMS or paramedic. I'm not exactly sure to what level, but multi-month, multi-hour courses that'll be happening with the new Norwood head of emergency services. So that's going to be a nice gift to our community
And
as
I'm
well.
sorry, his name escapes me, but I actually met him a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago because we had a community member, Angela Pachain, who asked Chief Bennett, John Bennett of our fire district,
Sure.
to convene a first responder sort of panel to help the community understand how prepared are we,
Right.
and what kind of threats have we looked at, and what things should we think about in
Yeah.
the future. So they did a very comprehensive, detailed panel that included this gentleman from Chicago area
Yeah.
who has joined the Norwood Fire Protection District.
Yep.
And he truly is like a lot of other community members. There are some people here with amazing qualifications.
Can we say baller?
Excuse me.
Because he's baller. I mean, he's got the goods. Like, he knows what he's doing.
I think you have, you're speaking like a millennial.
I'm spending a lot of time
Could you
with my
define baller for me,
I'm
please?
spending a lot of time with my teenage nephews right now. That's all I'm going to say. It's the
Okay.
holidays. You never know
All
what
right.
your influences are over the holidays. But we'll leave it at he's very highly qualified, and we're lucky to have him in our region.
I'll
Yeah.
second that,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. So I am sitting here in our TTV studio, and it is very cold because we are in the high school building where they have turned the heat down to
Because
save
it's
electricity over the winter.
holiday winter break.
Exactly, which totally makes sense, but it also means that we're going to wrap this up a little bit more quickly than we normally would. Is there anything I haven't asked about that you want to talk about?
No,
I mean, what a great summary, right?
no, it's...
Let's not get in the weeds today.
Yeah.
Let's just look
and let's
at...
not be Debbie Downers at the end of the year.
No, of course not,
There's a
yeah.
lot of challenge, and there's a
Yes.
lot to do that's left, and there's certainly, I'll put it this way. I've been struggling with my fourth cold of the season. I spent the majority of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day in bed.
Not the good
so
kind.
getting frustrated watching all these like Trump drama stories and this rehashing of all the frustration. And so I wandered up to the Hallmark Channel. And I cannot believe I'm saying this, but it's actually quite heartening that every dysfunctional relationship does somewhere have a happy ending.
Oh, okay, good to know. I'm glad. If we need a nice change of attitude,
So-
we should all be watching happy love stories.
Exactly, and like just like
Exactly.
the Hallmark Channel starting in January, every
Yeah.
weekend there's a new beginning sort of drama
okay.
without the drama.
Yeah.
That's what we're about to do for 2018.
Okay,
So,
a new
new
beginning without the
beginnings,
drama.
whatever dysfunction we've had, there'll be
Yeah.
a happy ending.
Eh,
So
okay.
I promise you, we'll get together next year and
Yeah,
we'll confirm.
yeah, exactly. We're going to hash it all out. It's going to be great, and we'll get in the weeds more next time we get together. But for now, let's just kind of wish each other happy holidays and say congratulations to a 2017 that was pretty darn good.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you for being a part of it, and thank you for being part of helping spread the message and actually the detail.
Well, you know I care.
Thanks. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.